Hi, it's Mr. Ramage, and this tutorial is going to look at editing your video in Canva. So I've been working on this little demonstration video for my students in my classroom, and I'm at the point where I need to start doing some editing. I have the beginning sort of figured out, and then the first thing I'm going to be talking about in my video is how cool the ships in Star Wars are. So I basically went through and I got all the images that I think I'm going to need. So I have some images of the toys and some pictures and some things here that I think is going to fit with my audio recording. Now what I just need to do is start to edit those together. So I've got my audio file here, which is about 30 seconds in length. And what I want to try to do is sync up the images to that audio. This might be a little weird for the tutorial because you're going to hear me talking in the audio file, but I just want to show you a couple of ways that you can edit stuff. But this is typically how I do it. I kind of gather all my images and clips first, then put my audio in there, and then just try to put things together and then add some animation and some transitions. So this is what it's going to start looking like here.
The coolest things about Star Wars was definitely the ships, the X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyers, the Death Star. All the ships were so cool. I couldn't wait to get the toys and play with them at home.
Okay, so that just kind of starts playing that audio. So the first part I talk about a couple of different ships. I say X-Wing Fighter, Millennium Falcon, and Star Destroyer. So these are the three images here, and then I might need to move the Death Star up a little bit. So we'll just kind of do this really quick.
The coolest things about Star Wars was definitely the ships, the X-Wing fighters, the Millennium.
Okay, so I say X-Wing Fighter, so I want to see an X-Wing Fighter on the screen. And then next thing I said is Millennium Falcon. So right where I stopped it is about where I start to say Millennium Falcon. So I'm going to take my arrows here, and I'm just going to kind of click and drag that slide down to where that is at. And then I'm going to play it a little bit.
The ships, the X-Wing fighters, the Millennium.
Okay, so again, I want the Millennium Falcon to pop up when I'm saying Millennium Falcon, so I might smooth this down a little bit. So this slide is at 1.9 seconds. You can also come up here and you can manually enter the time, or you can drag this little scroller bar here. You can also, if you want to set up like a constant timing for your slides, you could apply that to all of them, but we're definitely not going to do that. Next thing we talk about is the Millennium Falcon, so I'm going to, again, click and drag that down here. I'm going to kind of check my audio.
The X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyers.
Okay, so that's going to come up again pretty quick, so I'm at 1.9 seconds, and let's just do it up here for fun. Let's go 1.3 seconds. Okay, so that is going to hopefully change the timing of that slide. Did not do that. Interesting. 1.3. Okay. Alright. So that's not really doing what I want it to do. That's interesting. So let's just click down here and go down to like 1.5. We can also increase down here to make it a little bit easier to edit those smaller numbers. So let's do that too.
The X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, the Star.
Alright, so that's not too bad. Next up is Star Destroyers. So again, let's take that Millennium Falcon down. We're going to add transitions here in a little bit. You can also click here to add a page, but we're not going to do that yet.
Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyers, the Death Star.
Okay, so I did add a little animation to my Death Star, which is something else you want to think about in terms of your video. You want to add some movement and animations and transitions. We'll get to that here in a second after I kind of sync these first few up.
The Star Destroyers, the Death Star.
Okay, so again, Death Star down here. Let's see how that looks.
The Star Destroyers, the Death Star. All the ships were...
Alright, let's see, just a little bit more.
Warriors, the Death Star. All the...
Okay, so right there you saw the Death Star, or the Star Destroyer, kind of fade out. So if I go up to my... If I click on the Star Destroyer and come up here to the Animate option, okay, it says breathe. So I did select this earlier, and notice it says it's going to breathe out. I just want it to breathe in. Or no, breathe out. Right, that's what I want. Sorry. And then it's got a... feels like it has a transition though. I don't really like that.
And the Star Destroyers, the Death Star.
Yeah, it sort of fades out. I'm not sure why that's doing that. It has no transitions. Okay, so hey, this might be a good time to talk about transitions. So if you click on your, let's say, your slide here, then you have an option down here to add a transition. This is how your slide moves from one to the other. And you've got some different options here. Dissolve, slide, line wipe, color wipe, circles. Star Wars is famous for their circle wipes. Match and move is kind of cool. Flow, stack, chop. So not a ton of options for transitions, but I like to use them to add some motion. I don't put a transition between all of my slides. I think it might be a little overkill, but they do work as a way to add some movement. So I'm going to put slide, and I think that looks kind of cool where the X-Wing's like sliding over into the Millennium Falcon. So let's see what that looks like.
The X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyers, the Death Star, all the ships.
Okay, that I kind of dig. I'm not loving how this Star Destroyer, though, kind of fades out. I don't think I like that at all. Maybe we just need to do... let's see... flow, stack. Let's try stack and see what that looks like.
Again, the Star Destroyers, the Death Star.
Okay, I like that a little bit better. So again, you will see a little icon that tells you that there's a transition once you add it. Let's see. Let's run that first part back and see how it looks and sounds.
The X-Wing fighters, the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyers, the Death Star, all the ships were...
Okay. So I kind of like how that's starting off. Let's see. I'm going to shrink that down. And then I just have like a couple of slides with random ships on it while I'm talking about them. And obviously, we need to shrink these down and add some animations to them. So let's see.
All the ships were so cool. I couldn't wait to get the toy.
Okay, so then I started talking about the toys, and I did have some pictures back here of the toys. So I'm going to grab this picture, and we're going to click and hold it, and we're going to move it up to, let's see, over here for starters. Let's find the spot where I talked about the toys. So let's drop that in here.
The toys and play with them at home.
Alright, so I talked about the toys right around there, so let's move that down. Let's see where we're at.
Couldn't wait to get the toys and play with them at home. Probably one of the greatest Christmas...
Okay, so then I started talking about Christmas, and then back here I've got... I took a little element from Canva. I took like a Christmas element, and I found a picture of the X-Wing fighter box. And I sort of put that here, like it's under the tree, kind of cheesy-like.
Exactly cheap. And when I opened that up...
Alright, so let's see, play with the toys.
Christmas presents I ever got was an...
Alright, so let's move this. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag and move that. That orange line tells me that it's moved over here.
I ever got was an X-Wing fighter. I didn't think I was going to get it. I was really young. They weren't exactly cheap, and when I opened that up...
Alright, and then the last thing I did grab a picture of this. So I got an X-Wing fighter like I got when I was little for Christmas, and I added some hearts to it. So again, an element from Canva. I removed the backgrounds for that X-Wing fighter picture.
Exactly cheap. And when I opened that up under the tree on Christmas morning, I just freaked out. The ships in Star Wars were all...
Okay, so that's just a little look at how you can sort of move your slides around. Going back to the animations, a couple things with animations. Just be mindful that you don't sort of overuse them. Make sure that they are worthwhile. And then what you want to check with animations is on some of them you have an option for how they appear. So right now I selected the rise animation, and it's selected on both, which means that the TIE Fighter here is going to rise when the screen begins or the slide begins, and then it's also going to rise when the slide is over. So on enter or on exit or both. Most of the time it defaults to both, but I just want it on enter. And then I'm going to click this other TIE fighter, and we're going to also have him rise, but from a different direction, and also just on enter. Let's see what that looks like.
All the ships were so cool.
Okay, so it looks like, again,
The ships were so cool.
there we go. Let's see.
The ships were so cool.
So I don't really love how that turned out. I'm gonna have to play with that some more. So I don't want to make this video too long, but those are some things that I do when I edit my videos, and hopefully those are some things that will help you guys edit your videos down. Again, try to put all of your images in there, and you can even have more in there than you need, and start building those animations around your audio files, and then start using those transitions and effects just to bring some movement and motion to your video. And the more you practice, the better you're going to get. And yeah, Canva's got tons of things that you can do, little tricks that you'll pick up along the way to make your videos even better. Hi, it's Mr. Ramage, and here's another little editing tip for making a video in Canva. Canva is pretty cool, but again, it's a pretty basic system. You don't have super amount of flexibility, but here are 3 little Star Wars toys, and I kind of want all 3 of them to pop up one after the other. That's hard to do with the preloaded animations in Canva, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fake it. And here's what I will do. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to duplicate this page 2 times. So I have 3 pictures, so I'm going to duplicate this page 3 times, and I'm going to kind of work backwards. So on the first one, I just want this snow speeder to pop up first, so I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete this one, so that this slide or page just has 1 snow speeder on it. And I'm going to add an animation to this because I want it to move onto the slide. I want it to, let's see, what do we want to do? Okay, let's select tumble on enter. This is important to remember that it's only on enter. And then I want to make this slide pretty fast. Okay, so I'm going to take this down to about 1 second for starters. So now I'm going to come to my second slide, my copy. And what I want to come in next is this land speeder. So I'm going to delete the Rebel transport right there. So this one is now, again, no animation whatsoever. So let's make sure that we don't have any animation on there because it's already popped in on the first slide, right? So here we have it as it popped in.
To get the toys and play.
And then I want this one to animate in, so let's have this one, oh, I don't know what looks good. Let's have it pan in from the right, just on enter. And again, let's take this down to about 1 second. Okay, then on our third slide, this one's already here, this one's already here. So then we're just going to animate this guy. Let's do him on baseline so he comes up from the bottom, just on enter. And then let's take that down to maybe, oh, I don't know, let's say like about 2 seconds for starters. So now we've got 3 different slides with these pictures on it.
I couldn't wait to get the toys and play with them at home.
Okay, I didn't love this second animation here, so we're going to change that from pan to, not rise, wipe. Hey, let's do it wipe on enter. Let's wipe down, since it's kind of towards the top. Let's see what that looks like. Press play.
I couldn't wait to get the toys and play with them at home. Probably one of the greatest.
Okay, that looks a lot better. So, one way you can add animations to multiple images on your video is to duplicate them and then animate each one individually on each individual page.
Toys and play with them at home.
That way you can have a little bit more flexibility with your animations and be a little bit more creative beyond what Canva just normally provides for you.